Hey, what's up, everyone? This your boy Freeze coming to you with another con highlight. And today, I want to talk about Lugnut. And if you wait around long enough, I actually want to talk about a way to use him that I think might be pretty good against the motion sensing mind. So just stay tuned and we'll check it out. I'll be right back. All right, so I'm at you today with Lugnut, and right now I'm going to use my 4-star. That's who I actually got on my live server, and I'm going to use one of the loadouts that I typically would use with him. I've actually got his power level a little bit lower, but I went ahead and bumped it up to 61 just for demonstration purposes. And I think I have on a live server, I have his ability at about 6 or 7. So right now I got it sitting there at level 10, and you can see at level 10 ability, so you're dealing 2,783 electrical damage with him at level 61. So and I also got Lugnut's Mace, and so there's a couple of things I want to talk about. I'll talk about the good and the bad with Lugnut first, and I'll run a little bit of gameplay. So I added him into the sack spot on one variation of what I use for my war team, and so let's see. I'll check them out in a couple of zones real quick because just want to talk about a couple of things. And so I think for him it's a pretty good bot with a pretty good ability, and especially if you got a lot of clusters that you're trying to you find a lot of clusters and anything. Now right here I got a pretty tough opponent in Deception, so shout out to him. So we'll see what happens. But typically I like to use him as like a sack bot, and the reason why I like that is because you can already see right out the gate he's got really good range, and I would like to use him. And this is one of the things I was kind of looking at right here, is it you're gonna run into those motion sensing mines, but with Lugnut's Mace is gonna keep him alive a little bit longer, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit. And so in a case like that, what I like to try to do, because he's got that long range, is pop a couple of those back outpost bots. And right here you can see I got 3 of them out of the way, and so that's not bad for what I'm trying to do. Typically my bot that I use typically is going to be Ramjet, but this is one of the things I was looking at, and that's one of the things I want to demonstrate as far as countering the motion sensing mines. So I want to show you something on my base. Now my base is under construction up here. I'm on the test server, and that's one of the things that I've been looking at is just different builds. So I hadn't completely finished it yet. I started it earlier, but what I wanted to look at was the motion sensing mine itself and what it looks like at full ability. And so with this G metal maxed out, you're gonna have that T-lock for 13.5 seconds. Then that's how long your bot's not gonna be able to use its ability. Now, one of the reasons why I started looking at Lugnut, and one of the reasons why I started looking at Legacy 4 as my 5-star batch, is because I had a lot of variety for bots that I would actually use, and I actually got a 5-star that I was going to do some testing with, and I didn't level him up yet, so that's why I'm using my 4-star. And one of the things I look at with Lugnut's Mace is, I forgot I got this one maxed out, so I got to read the smaller tooltip, but it says when your health drops below 30%, you become invulnerable to damage, stun effects for 12 seconds. And so that's one of those things where I say, all right, well, if I got 13.5 seconds that he's not taking, that he's locked under, if you had a maxed out G metal motion sensing mine at 12 seconds, so I got a little bit of time left to make one more jump and go and get another outpost bot popped if I use Lugnut's mace, and if I can max Lugnut's mace out, which I think the one I got on the live server right now is about level 13 or 14, so I could pump some more cores into it whenever if I needed to. But that's one of the main things that I was looking at, is to kind of get him into the rotation. And like so far in Legacy 4, I've already pulled Impact out of the batch. I pulled Hook this morning out of the batch. So if any of you guys saw my YouTube short, I got a brand new 5-star Hook. And like I said, if you saw my last video, you know I wanted to pull Brawl out of that batch as well. And man, I'm not averse to pulling Straxus out of that batch either, as I feel that the walls will become more relevant. I just don't know if he's going to be strong enough when HQ18 comes out. So if he's the last bot, if Straxus is that last one, I might not go back into that batch, but we'll see how that goes. Alright, so some of the things I did want to talk about though. So he's got a pretty good ability. I'm thinking about pursuing Lugnut in the 5-star batch, and it's just really one of those things, like it's really just where it falls, and it's gonna be depend on what comes out in the next 5-star batch. But I do definitely want to go back in there and get Brawl, unless another batch with another really good gunner presents itself. I need range options. Alright, so here kind of the same setup. Like I said, now just for a second, I just want to go focus on just the ability damage. I'm going to do the shock tower, and no one else can get shocked, but I want to see. So yeah, it wears down a lot of stuff over there on the side. And now I waited a little bit too long there. Now I'll just try to advance the field a little bit. And so this points out one of the disadvantages I see for him, is that that's an ability that becomes pretty expensive over time. So I did 3 jumps, and already I'm a little light on ability points. So I want to take a look at it one more time, because when it comes to other sack bots, it's like one of the reasons why I really like Ramjet is because the low cost for Ramjet, and the fact that he's leaving damage behind him everywhere he goes. Now with Lugnut, you can see that he did a decent amount of damage to the resource buildings that were in the surrounding area. And I actually want to test out his ability 11 today, because I hadn't used his ability 11. I've seen other people use it, but I just wanted to catch it on video, really as a test for myself, to see how convinced, how much I'm sold on using picking him out of that batch. And so I probably just leave it right there at 2 jumps. But even with Laser Optimus putting them, getting them stunned, that's one of the things that you're looking at, that hey, it's still working, it's still doing this thing. I can drop the rest of my team down and try to work on the rest of the base. So it's not bad as an ability, but I say I jumped 2 times this go around, and I only had I had about 14 left. But so it's right outside of that range where I would feel comfortable doing 3 uses of the ability. But if you're using them for a sacrifice bot, then that's then he's got great range, and that if you run into that motion sensing mine, that he's gonna survive. And I think that's the real high point for if you're using them as a sack bot, and then doing pretty decent amounts of damage as well. And so let's see, I also wanted to look at different combat bot options. So a lot of times for me, whenever I did use them heavily, I like to use exactly the way I had it loaded out. I like to use Catgut, but there's a lot of different options. So I moved Catgut over when I moved him over to Ramjet, when I picked him, when I finally pulled him. Other bots I use Razor Sharp, and I've used any of the axes except for Terror. I don't like Terror because I don't like using him on a bot that I expect is gonna die. But yeah, or even a companion type bot, because I've used companion type bots before, and then like you've seen, if you've seen my other videos, you see that when I use a companion type bot, one of the things that I do is let that companion drop over outpost. It's a little bit more difficult for Lugnut, but it does work. I used it earlier, and that worked pretty good. And let's see, what else did I want to look at on him? Other power core options. Just like with any other sack bot, I say I'm not averse to using Vector Prime on him, just so you can try to draw the outpost bots back down there to the bottom, and then maybe beat up on them a little bit with your combiner, or beat up on them with your full team down there at the bottom of your map. But yeah, overall I think he's pretty good. I am going to do some more testing on him outside of my YouTube videos, just try to see what the 5-star looks like. But I do want to take a look at his ability 11, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that up there, just because I haven't used it myself yet. Alright, I gotta go in there and grab more Z Energon. But yeah, I just want to go see what that looks like. So let me go do that. Throw some Z Energon in there. And I'll just go ahead. I just tried on my own base in a base trial. I just want to really see what it looks like, what it feels like while using it myself. So let me go ahead and increase his ability. So it says 50% ability damage and stun duration in extended area. Alright, so these guys, so now let's check that out. And that made him a little bit more powerful. Let's see what this looks like. Alright, so I'll start down here in this bottom corner on my own base. Now, I know that for me, see, and what I love about this range, so I tried this same setup today with Ramjet, went a little bit shorter. So what I want to do is pop both of these outposts right there, and I'll just go ahead and eat the attack, let Lugnut's mace take over, because I know that I was going to run into a motion sensing mine. So that's one of those places, like, if you know that a motion sensing mine is going to be in place, I mean, then why not? And then I just shoot them back all the way over here, and I wind up getting, in this particular case, three of those bots in one jump, or 2 jumps. And then I'll just come back across the other side with my team and just kind of clean the rest of it up. But yeah, so I think it works pretty well. And it's one of those things when I had to go look at a batch, and I looked at it and I said, hey, what do I want to do with this batch? It's one of those batches that I say, hey man, you really can't miss, I feel like, in Legacy 4. So I think I'm gonna pursue him. But I say, I'm trying to debate whether or not I want to jump out of there when I get Brawl off. I want to go ahead and continue to get Lugnut, as I think that I honestly believe that it's going to end up being more motion sensing mines, or more mines period, when HQ18 comes out, only because when on the test server we tested 6 mines before, and that was right at the time when the motion sensing mine came out. Now I know that there probably is still a fix that needs to be done to the motion sensing mines, because they don't always trigger depending on timing. But I'm not going to try to sit up there and try to use like an exploit like that to try to get an advantage in the game. So I'm trying to think of ways to counter the counter, and that's where I'm at right now with Lugnut. So I think I will continue in that batch, and if I pull him, I pull him. I'll see what happens to see if I stay in that batch after I get Bro. But yeah, it's a pretty good bot, and I think that I think it's worth testing out if you have Lugnut's mace, which is I think is the best core to use on them. And it's tough. A lot of guys are trying to they got the gold version of it. Like I said, it would take for me to have a maxed out G metal, and if I knew for sure that I was gonna pull them, I'd probably start working on that power core in advance. But anyway, hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope everybody had a good event. Like I said, I'm just out here just trying to work through my Cyberpass stuff and everything right now. But hey, tell me different ways that you use Lugnut, and like just leave me a comment. And don't forget, if you're not a subscriber, go ahead subscribe. If you are a subscriber, or if you're not, go ahead and like my video. And if you want to join a bunch of my friends and a bunch of my buddies now on the Discord server, I will leave it's in my about section, but I'll also leave that in the biography for this video. And just come up there and check us out on social media. You know, we talk a lot of strategy and just have a good time in there. But other than that, look for my video later on in the week. I'll try to, I don't know what topic I'm gonna cover yet. I'm trying to wait to see what's happening with the new combat bot, because if the new combat bot is finished at that time when we get clearance to release, I'll actually talk about that on Thursday. But if not, I got a couple other topics in mind. But other than that, yeah man, just like, subscribe, and come join us on social media if you can. But I'll see you guys next time, and I'll see you in the battlefield. Freezius out.